we've this is going to be the second of our series of seminars that will run over the next couple of months, and today obviously we're focusing mostly on marketing. I'll do for some of you I know have joined on some of the other seminars that we've done and webinars we've done, but I'll do a quick recap of what we're all about at the Joinery Network. Please, we've got chat on, so please message us if there's any questions that you want answering or anything that you want to raise. And at the end of the presentation, we'll open the mics up, and obviously, you've got time to chat and go through anything you want to then. So let me just start the presentation. Right, I always ask this, can everybody see it? Just nod if you can. Great, lovely. Thanks, John. So, hang on a second. Great. So the theme of our webinars is how that windows and doors for next year are really going to be your golden ticket as a joinery company. We'll explain a little bit why. I have a solution
for that pizza issue.
Okay.
You can get Uber Eats gift cards, so you can put like a tenner on each card or whatever, and then they just deliver the card to you here, and then we just got physical cards you can just hand out to them.
They can get a £10 pizza between them.
Yeah. Well, to be honest,
hello, is somebody not muted?
Okay.
So whether it's better to give them each a card.
I think somebody's off now. That's what happened there. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, great. I don't know what happened there. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Obviously, we're going to focus on some straightforward tips on how to market your business. Obviously, marketing is a pretty broad subject, and happy enough to talk to anybody individually afterwards about how we can, any advice you want, any questions, any help we can give you on specifics. But today we're just going to focus on a few general things to help you direct your marketing and think a little bit about what you want to do with your business over the next year and how best to really look at that and with a view to marketing effectively. So before we do that, just a little bit about to catch up on the Joinery Network. Some of you may know that it's a cooperative of leading industry suppliers. So the whole idea of the Joinery Network is to help joinery companies in everything from the setup of manufacturing for windows and doors, right the way through to a whole range of specialist services that are available and advice from the founder members and our affiliates as well, which we'll give you a little bit of information about who's involved in that. But effectively, how it works is it's all really geared up to be able to make you be able to manufacture superior quality, past 24 certified, document queue ready windows and doors to add to your business and to help you grow sales. Taking away the risk, taking away an awful lot of the cost. And so making it consistently high quality manufacturing. We work closely with Lights Tooling, who have developed the tooling for the Lignum range of windows and doors. We've got Owen Dare with OT Joinery Specialists to give probably the best support you can get in setting up your factory and getting the flow right. Finance and tooling from Close Brothers Asset Finance, who really understands the machinery and the tooling sector very, very well and give you lots of good advice. For Scarly, for R&D tax credits, first time I used their services about last year, couldn't believe how easy it was and how much money I got back that I wasn't expecting from genuine R&D, tax credits that we were entitled to. Government wants us to have them. The government says we're not taking enough of them up. And there's money there waiting for most companies to be able to claim in anything they do that is developing their business. So talk to those guys. We've got BJ Waller, our partner and one of the founders, who've got window and door and joinery hardware on often next day delivered across the country, but they are absolute hardware nerds at BJ Waller. They understand everything you need to know and give you a lot of help and a lot of good advice. DJX Stonebridge and Finesse. This is the high quality, beautifully finished door and window hardware that's just going to set your products apart from the competition at the right price points for you as well, which is important. Accoya tested, full weather protection to grade 5 products. And then we have Calvin software, which is superb end-to-end joinery software. Again, the guys there, Simon's on with us today, I believe. Awful lot of support for you. Just if you want good advice and to be set in the right setup for the end-to-end software for your company, give them a call, just have a chat and see if there's any help we can give you. And then ourselves, Balls to Marketing. We're marketing specialists, have been in the glazing industry since we started 10 years ago. Work very closely with joiners, glazing companies and the whole supply chain. And my background is sort of 20 years in that sector as well. And then we have, so from a partner point of view, they're the guys there. If you go onto the website, joinerynetwork.co.uk, you've got contact details for all the guys there, as have you for the affiliates. We work closely with James Latham, NBM Timber, Centaur for bifold door hardware and some really nice bifold and sliding door shading and blinds, etc. Winkhouse, who've helped us a lot in the testing side and provide the hardware to get us through past 24. Technos Paints, who are a partner of ours on and can give you really good advice on the right coatings and paint systems. Millbrook to make sure it's installed correctly with the sealant systems as well. So we've got a really good network of affiliates, and that's growing all the time. There's some more joining into the new year. So everything really you need to get started making timber windows and doors effectively and efficiently. If you get your price point and your service level right on that through the right machinery and the right partnerships, then it's very easy to make good money from windows and doors. Lots of testing that we've done, which we'll talk about in a moment, but basically, the way that we've set it up is working with yourselves as much as possible to help you and give you advice. Just take what you need from us. We're not insisting that you get advice from anybody in particular, but the guys are there and the teams are there. We're looking for companies who want to invest in a complete Windows system, and we've actually invested on your behalf in the window testing and the door testing. We're then promoting these sustainable products to homeowners, developers, the trade, architects. We do seminars with architects, we do seminars with building control, and we're already marketing out to homeowners and other organisations. We also work closely with architects and have done a number of seminars with some of the larger practices. We're working very closely with sales and installation companies, joiners who are able to satisfy the demand that's out there. So why are we so fired up and investing so heavily in the window and door industry? Well, if you look for timber windows and doors, there's a massive growth potential right now. 80% of wooden windows are currently going to the home improvement market. You've got the Wood Window Alliance saying that 52% of householders think timber windows and doors provide the most character in a home. There's about £450 million worth of installations of timber windows and doors every year. And the last survey, which was a while back in 2006, the timber window sales grew by 25%. Now the market has grown since that point. And timber windows are still outperforming the marketplace generally, which we'll just move on to give you a bit of information on that. Yeah, homeowners will choose timber if they're given a choice. Very often they're not given the choice because they see it's a harder product to get hold of. People aren't actively selling it to them, and there's often a bit of reticence to go and talk to a bespoke joinery company about something they don't really know that much about. So if you can make it easier for those companies, those people and individuals, through your marketing and the way that you project yourselves, take down some of the barriers, make it easy for people to talk to you. You'll find that you're pushing it, excuse the pun, an open door in many cases. But there's some good reasons why you should be talking to homeowners right now. There's been a big push in transformational windows over the last few years, where it's meant that people are changing windows usually because they want something better, something to improve their home, something to improve the aesthetics, make it look different. And so in the PVC sector, premium foils and flush sash multi-chamber products have become very, very popular. But they push the price of PVC windows up an awful lot, in some cases more than 100% more expensive than previously. And we've got a lot of problems in the PVC sector at the moment, with resin shortages, limited foiling capacity, and more complex manufacturing, which is pushing many lead times out to similar to timber, to 6 to 8 weeks. And the BWF have stated that there's a lot of research they've done that says that timber windows are between 14 and 25% less expensive than PVC windows when you look at the whole of life cost for windows. And remember, 52% of households actually like the idea of buying a timber window. So how have we helped you in putting together the right package of products to help get involved in that market and make some money out of it? We've invested in a complete PAS 24 range of windows and doors ready to manufacture. We call it the Lignum range, and there's flush sash casements, there's sliding sash, box sash, bifold doors, we have open in, open out single doors, and French doors and double doors. We're also adding new products to the range. We're going to add a sliding door to the range next year, which is very nice, very slim timber product. So far, we've invested about £150,000 in the development and testing of the Lignum window and door system, and it is a complete system. It covers everything that you need. And importantly, is easy to manufacture. To get involved in that, it's a case of you need tooling, you get the certifications from us that covers absolutely everything you need, which means you can go and sell them to any sector, new build, refurbishment, everything is there. So that's a little bit about the Joinery Network, and please, go to our website, find out a bit more about us, talk to any of the partners for any information that you need. So I want to talk a little bit about marketing your business, really the first starting point of that is actually, who do you want to speak to? And that sounds maybe a daft question, really. You want to speak to anybody, I guess, who wants to buy your products. But it is important to consider your markets. It's important to consider what's the profile of your ideal customer going to look like. Where do you want most of your business to come from? often we find that we grow our businesses organically and don't really think much about segmenting where the best product things are. Is the most profit you're going to get, is it coming from homeowners? Do you want to work more with property developers, maybe small developments, or even get into some of the bigger companies? There's a general builder market there that is pretty active, with lots of companies doing extensions, small houses, and their own house refurbishments. One-off plot, new build. Is that a market you want to get into? What about commercial property owners? If you're based down in any of the large cities where they've got good conservation areas full of social housing, for example, there can be a lot of business in those areas. So, and who gives you referrals and sends customers your way? They're all things to think about, because they all need a little bit different way of approaching them. So your messaging is really important. So if you understand where the market growth for you is, or where you think it's going to be, then that helps to just gives you a bit of an idea as to where you want to be spending your money and your budget for marketing. You can't forget the people that influence the workload that you may have. So that could be architects, existing customers referring you to people they know, etc. Maybe things like check a trade, all those kind of things. But it is important to know that audience. But at the same time, don't be too targeted. Don't just gear everything up to talk to builders if that's is one of the areas you want to, because there's other people that are going to be influencing the decisions that get made. So it's getting a balance in the marketing messages that you look at, and we'll talk a bit more about that. But first point, really, as a starting point, is it's worth, even if you've been spending money regularly on marketing over the last few years, or just something you've got into recently or thinking about doing, it's worth doing a little bit of a quick health check on where you are right now. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, it doesn't have to be too involved, but just have a think where you're spending money at the moment on marketing. It could be you're running an ad in a local magazine on a regular basis. Maybe you've got some pay-per-click advertising going on your website, anything like that you may get involved in. Even if you've signed up to some directories or check a trade or anything like that, that's all marketing spend. So are you measuring it? Do you know which bits of those things are working or which bits aren't? So it's worth just checking back a little bit and finding out, well, actually, I'm getting inquiries through from the pay-per-click advertising I'm doing, or I'm not. Or, I'm getting some inquiries, but I'm spending an awful lot more money than I thought, or I'm not spending much and it's working. Maybe I ought to do a bit more of what I'm doing at the moment. So it's about just, you don't know what you don't know. So unless you're measuring it, you can't really make a decision on where you should be spending the money or stop spending money. So carry out a quick audit on some of the things you're doing. Have a look at your website. Look at your social media. Look at if you're doing Google ads. Are you advertising in newspapers or magazines, etc. So website is always a really good place to start in where you are, because that's one of the show fronts of your business. It's one of your showrooms, and people will check you out on your website as they will on social media. So it's worth just having a look, and are you hitting some of the key things? And what we'll do is I'm just going to pick up on a couple of companies here. They won't mind because they work with us, and so I'm sure they won't mind us pouring over their website. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share the screen on here at the moment. So. Great. So hopefully that you can see this website here. So there's a few key things you should look for on your website, and have you got them? Can people contact you really easily? Because hopefully you should have you should at the top there have a simple check there that people can actually see your phone number. They can link through. They can click onto that. Have you got your social media up at the top? If people want to contact you and maybe don't want to just pick the phone up to you, give them a couple of reasons to call you. Maybe something a little bit vague, like contact us, or be a bit more formal and ask them to, if people want a quote, make it easy for them, give them a chance to get a quote. And that allows you to ask a few more details about them at the same time, because they actually want a quote. So straightforward things like that. Make sure that your website is optimized. And what that means is that if I'm looking at a phone, it looks right. The images are big, at the right scale. I can scroll up and down the website easily, and it's got all the information. It's always nice to have some good graphics on the front page. You maybe want to be a little bit about the products that you do, or you maybe want talking a bit about your business. So, for example, if you're, if you're proud of your joinery shop, show it off on your website. Always make it easy to find out more about you. So have lots of little prompts on your homepage. Again, we've got here, get a quote, maybe get a survey. So we're trying to capture people at a point where they're comfortable to talk to us. So some people may, just give me a quote. Some people may say, I'm not sure what I want really, but I quite like the idea of having a survey. Or I've got a project, so my architect has told me to look for a window door company or whatever, or a joinery company, send us your plans across. So just make it easy for people to contact you. And then, you can showcase your products, what you do, and then a little bit about you, and wherever you can, give people some reassurance that you're good at what you do. A similar thing here, this is a company, again, they've got their Trustpilot on here, they're focusing more on Facebook, but they've got a little couple of things here, what we call stickies, where you can request a brochure or request a quote. And again, you can click on to get information about specifying your project. So make it easy for them, lots of prompts to find the right place.
Otherwise, why don't you?
I'll just show back to the presentation. Right. So it's well worth just doing that quick audit onto your website to make sure that you're doing everything that you can and what you need to do there. So what we're going to do is really focus now on getting yourself established, growing yourselves locally, making an impact in your local area, because that's always the first area that you can target is where you are, where you're based. People will see your vans around, people will know a little bit about you probably, have seen things, and so it's about making sure that you're front of mind with people in your local area. And there's some real simple ways to do this, but it does take a little bit of time. Nothing comes for completely nothing. So it's worth putting a bit of time aside each week to work on your marketing, and you'll find that'll really pay dividends off. And online is an easy way to do it. Some magazines still work, some local newspapers have got a nice little hold in the area, and if it works for you, do it. But if you find that your local advertising isn't working as well as it used to do for print, then online is a cost-effective way to get business in your local area. In fact, you can, over time, you can really start to own that space in your town, in your area. And so what we're going to do is go through some practical tips on ways that you can promote your business in this way. Social media is a really good starting point here. It's probably one of the easiest ways to promote your business. It's going to help you engage with potential customers. Really good way to show your personality and your company values. And it's what you need to do though is obviously, as we were saying at the beginning, think about who you want to talk to when you're posting. So, think a little bit about the messaging that you're going to be putting out there. There are two main platforms to reach homeowners, and these are Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, some people are on Twitter. Don't ignore Twitter. If you've got it, then that's great. But most people are heading towards Facebook or Instagram or both, depending on what they're looking for. So you really do need to be on those platforms. You need to post regularly. 3 times a week is great. It doesn't have to be really complicated. You don't have to do them live either. You can write them and then you can plan what you want to be saying over the week or the month and just schedule them onto Facebook, and that will save, that will save as you can save that as drafts on Instagram. So basically, you're not having to do a completely different thing onto Instagram as you are Facebook. So it's fairly quick and easy to do that. It's a lot less stressful if you plan it in advance. So always ask your friends and family to like and share your posts, because they know people, they've got their own networks. Let's get things on wherever you can. If they're liking and sharing you regularly, that means your stuff's going to get that much more visible around the local area. And if you're friends with any local businesses, you get on well with them, maybe you've got some suppliers, maybe it's your butcher, maybe whoever it might be, ask them to like and share your page. You can do this really easily on Facebook. Facebook gives you about 100 credits each month where you can just invite people to businesses to like and share your page, and do the same for them, pay the compliment back. And create a list of hashtags that are relevant to you. So maybe timber window, hashtag indoors, hashtag timber windows indoors, for example. If you want a list of those, just message us and we'll give you a list of ones we suggest just to get started off. And Facebook posts, we have some posts available for LinkedIn license holders. So just ask us and we'll send you those again, just to give you a little bit of a kickstart there. But when you're looking at your Facebook page, remember to keep it friendly and personal as well. It should reflect who you are and what you are as a business. So that means that people, give people the things they want to see. So very often, if you're going out and looking at a new job that you've done, just have a look at it and think, well, if we get this job, I'm going to come back. We'll take a few before photos anyway, just in case we get it and the timing's right. But that could be a really nice case study for you going forward. Google My Business plays an integral role also on your online presence. So it's very important to make sure you're getting the best from your Google My Business. So there's a few do's and a few don'ts here. So make sure you add accurate information on your listing. Quite often you'll see an address is only half finished. Maybe you've got a different address on your website to the one that's on your Google My Business. If that's the case, then you need to make sure they're the same. Google will first and foremost reference your Google My Business entry, and they'll gather that from wherever your business has been found on Google, and they will take the aggregate of the one that most looks right. So if it's different to your website, that's going to cause some issues with Google. It's going to actually downgrade you on your Google listing. So make sure wherever your address is featured online, that it matches back to your Google and your Google one is correct. Relevance is really key when it comes to your listing. And make sure you keep your list up to date. if you change your address, maybe change something about your business, phone number, your opening times, that was really relevant over the first lockdown, then update them as soon as you possibly can. So it's just just having a diary note to just keep checking it and updating it. And doing this, it means that your potential customers have the right information. Google wants people to have the right information. So it shows them that you're on top of it, you're making changes on a regular basis, you're updating it, you're adding stuff to it. And some don'ts. So don't just do the bare minimum. Make sure you own your Google My Business, you've claimed it, that you're actually managing it. Don't just use generic descriptions or old images. Optimizing your listing is always going to give you the best, and we'll go through that in a moment. And don't create fake reviews to get your page started. We'll talk a bit more about reviews. So it's worth taking a look at a couple of examples of Google My Business. So what I'm going to do is just change the share over to this page here. So this is completely random. This is this one here, there you go. Hopefully this will. Hopefully that's showing okay. So this is just a local company I picked up near to us called Joinery by Design, and it's a completely random. But you can see there they've got some photos, which is good. So yeah, you can sort of see some of the photos that they put up, but not very many. Yeah, they've got one that's a Google generated one, and just one of a door that obviously they've done. You've got their address down here. You've got opening hours, fine, but not a lot else. There's not any reviews on there at all. And what comes up very, very quickly, as you can see here, is I'm very quickly being given some other companies that I could be talking to in the local area.
Hey Andy, I'm just seeing your desktop at the moment, not an actual.
Oh right, okay. Well, I don't know why that's happened. Sorry. Let me just see if I can put that back. Has that come up now?
That's the landing page on Google.
Yeah. Can you see Joinery by Design?
Yes.
Yeah, great. That's sorry about that. I don't know why that happened. So this is a landing page of Google, quite rightly. I've just literally put in a company local to us called Joinery by Design. So you can see here, they've got one photo on there. They've got a bit of information about their business. They've got the Google My Business, a bit of the Google map image there as well. A little bit about them. It's got them down as a building firm. Maybe that's not the best descriptor of them. So it's about make sure you've got the right description, because when you come up on the Google Maps, you want to come up for the right products. And very quickly, there's no reviews or anything. Very quickly, I can see some of the competitors that they actually would come up against. If I'm putting in joinery companies in my area on Google, then that's given me a list of joinery companies. And the way that Google will look at those, it will look at the most relevant company in an area. It'll look at, have they got ratings on Google? Have they got an up-to-date website that matches to their name here? And have the way they describe them, is it relevant? Now, this one's coming up with a construction company, so they've probably done quite well to come up there. It's probably the fact that they've got a couple of reviews that has allowed them to do that. But if they're more specific about them, their main, maybe they put joinery down as one of their services on their listings, in which case that's why they've also come up. But make sure you always list the thing, like this guy here, Tatler Joinery, has actually put he's a joiner. So, you know, he's got 5 reviews there. So what you put on your Google My Business directly affects what comes up on the map listing and how likely you're going to come up on the map. So that's really important. This is one that we've done fairly recently for a company called Bow Walker Doors. And what we've done is made sure that there are plenty of photos coming up on this account. So there's lots of images of installations about them. So that nicely populates Google My Business with photos. They've got some reviews there on Google. You've got their address details in here. If I want to make an appointment, I can contact Bow Walker Doors to do that. And then it's got nice listings about the products that they do. If you've got products, or you've got just your joinery, or you want to talk about your joinery services, you can add your services in here as well. And then we put some category stuff, bit of information about the reviews they have, more information about Bow Walker Doors, and some updates on things that they've done in the past. There's also, you'll see here, because they've got an active Facebook's coming up, because Google's looked around and said, well, they're doing Facebook, they're an authority on Facebook as well as on this, so we'll show it. And what we've been able to do is push the competitors right the way down the bottom. So you've got to actually start scrolling to get as far as the competitors. So, just great. So that's a bit more on Google My Business. So we talked about reviews there. You can see how important reviews are for your Google. It features very prominent on your Google My Business, and it does help where you rank as a trusted company, which is what Google is trying to establish all the time. So whether it's Google, whether it's Facebook, Trustpilot or Checkatrade, those reviews are important. So if you have good reviews, let prospective customers know. So direct them to those from your website or your social media. Your reviews will be coming up on your Google My Business as well, and you can help promote that. Always ask the customer for a review at the end of a job. Also ask them if they've got any photos they've taken, or can you take photos that you can use. If you're sending out an email at the end of the job with a guarantee on it, or your invoice, just have a section on there. Just ask them for a review of how good they thought you were. And on that, just add a link. It can be an image link to Facebook, for example, or to your Google My Business, just saying, will you please review me on whatever platform. A lot of people have their favorite platforms, so give them 2 or 3 options if you can. Some people, obviously, if you're on Checkatrade or Trustpilot, you'll definitely want them to go back to there. But some people like to review on Google, some people like to review on Facebook. So give some options if you can. What happens if you get a poor review? Well, it can happen. Mistakes happen, things go wrong. If you get a bad review, here's a little bit of information on how you can best deal with it. First and foremost, don't reply in public. Call or personal message them instead. It is a good idea to acknowledge on the review on the platform, say, sorry about that, I'll drop you a personal message now and see what we can do to help. Ask them how you can resolve the issue, and if at all possible, then resolve it. When it's finished and completed, ask them to remove the bad review, or you can post that, yeah, I'm glad we're able to help you in this instance, and that it looks to everybody who may be looking at that you've looked at the issue, you've talked to them, and you've resolved it. Happy days, things go wrong. It's how you deal with that and how you respond is the most important thing. But we know you can't please everyone. There are some people out there who are just serial complainers. We all come across them. There's nothing you can do about that. But remember, it's as important of how you deal with the complaint as anything else. If the customer's not going to let you help them, then carefully explain on the page what you've done to help that customer. And again, if possible, just reaffirm that you've offered to help. So if you tried to phone them, if you've offered to go round and they're not letting you, say, look, I really want to help you. I've messaged you, explain that I want to come round to see you. Please, make an appointment with us for us to do that. We're all fairly savvy now. We've done Trustpilot, we've done Trusted TripAdvisor. We know that people get bad reviews, but if you've dealt with it in the right way and the person comes across as at that point as unreasonable, then your prospective customers will look at that and go, yeah, on balance, they've done what they can. It is what it is. They see the decent business. Also, use the phone photos and videos that you have. I mean, how many times do we take photos of the jobs that we've done or the jobs that are in progress, but they just stay on our phone? Have a scroll through, see how many you've got. We snap away, but never do anything with the photos quite often. So, people love to see products being made. So, if you've got a nice job that you've just done in the factory, show it off. If you're proud of it, show it. Photos of things going through your machinery. People can see then that you've invested, that you know what you're doing. Show products when they're finished. Add it to your social media and to your website. Take those before, during, and after photos. Fantastic for Facebook slideshows and Instagram. You're telling the story of what you've done for somebody. Make case studies of the larger projects and more complex jobs. You can add those to your website, and show design and different style options. So if you've done a nice country cottage, show that off. If you've done a modern house or done a transformational job with windows and doors, show that off. If you've done a fantastic bespoke staircase, make sure that's on your website. Make sure it's on your social media. And always add a caption and some information about the job on social media posts. If you're adding it to your website, again, make sure you add some kind of caption. Make sure you are referring the area that is. So maybe it's a job that you did in Leicester, or maybe an area close to where you are, where it's a specific village. If you reference that on your website, then Google's just, will pick that up at some point, and it just gives you another area where they know that you work and that it's genuine. And how to start making your website more visible on Google or Bing search. Search engine optimization, or SEO, is a massive subject. But what we've done here is just going to give you a few pointers on things that you can look at. So, firstly, it's about increasing the visibility of things on your website. So, if you've got new products, added some services, offer some really good services for your customers, make sure they can be seen easily on your website. So it's important to keep doing stuff on your website on a regular basis. So that might be adding a new page for a new product. It might be a blog with some advice for people, photograph galleries, all important stuff to be putting on there. So hopefully you've got somebody that can either work on your website, or you've got access to the admin section of your website, so you can create a new page just to talk about the new window and door system that you're launching, or a new joinery service that you're offering out to homeowners, for example. Just create a page about that, because they're the core pages of your website. Then send people to those pages. So put a banner on your homepage. You saw the banners that we'd got on the Boat Walker site. So lots of things to promote new products, promote that new service. Just put little banners on there. Click through here to find out about our latest window. Put a little, make it an image, something that's interesting. Advice blogs are absolutely brilliant on your website because you get so much use out of them. So if you've got some good advice about choosing windows, you've got information about what people should be looking for when they're replacing their door, pitfalls that people can fall into when they're looking at the joinery on their home, what they want to be doing with it, then write an advice blog. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. It doesn't have to be overly long. 500 words is spot on. Then you can use it onto your website. So you'll have probably a blog section on your website that you can post that into. You can send links to that by writing a post on your social media. And so you can drive people to that advice blog. And you'll be amazed how much traffic a good advice. Make sure you've got a snappy headline on it. So, tips on finding the right joinery company, for example, might be one, that kind of thing. So think about what people will be looking for on Google. And in fact, test it out. If you think you've got a phrase, will people be looking for that? So, it might be, choosing the right timber windows for your cottage. Put that phrase into Google, see what comes up. If it's something that looks like it's been searched for a reasonable amount of times, you can see the results coming up at the top to see how many people are searching for that kind of thing. Then that's probably a good one to look at. Make sure you reference your local area in it. So, we're based in Leicester and we work around such and such areas, so that it's referencing that in there as well. And that's giving you the basis of good information onto your website. A good blog is one that gives people proper information. It's not just some hack that's been cobbled together. It's got the right words in it that Google are going to be, know people are going to be searching for. So Google sees it as a good point of reference, and it's easy to read with some nice images in it as well, just to break it up. Add pictures to your gallery on a regular basis, so that is important. And post about case studies, advice that we've said there on your social media. Always link it back to your website with the relevant link there. And again, look for keywords in your website copy. So if you're putting a new page in about timber windows, then make sure you're using the right keyword. Timber windows may be your main word that you use, but put in wooden windows in there as well, for example, just so it picks that up. And it may be an idea you split it up, so you have a page of generally about windows, but also then have one on flush sash casement, one on a box sash, for example. So you're getting more specific information on your website for when people are searching. Okay, so yeah, this is as opposed to marketing. If you want any specific information, advice or help, just give us a call or email us. You'll find our email address, our phone number will come up on the joinerynetwork.co.uk website or balsamarketing.co.uk, and just give us a bell. Kind of services that we do, we manage an awful lot of social media for installation companies, specialise in local search engine optimization, Google My Business, which we've talked about, and also website designs. As a member of the Joinery Network, which is obviously as a license holder, we have a really good offer on website design. So, just have a chat to us about that. And coming soon on the marketing, we've got more information about the Lignum coming along. We've got some product sheets being done at the moment, and in the new year, we'll have a window and door brochure for Lignum as well. So, thanks very much for that. If anybody's got any questions, if you want to open your mic up, and we'll go through them. Okay, well, thank you very much for that. If we can be of any help, we want any more information, then please just give us a call, and thank you very much for joining us today. We'll let you know about the next event when on our regular emails that we send out to you.
Andy, quick question.
Yeah.
Just wondered if you did anything in terms of lead generation from social media. I know you can sort of track that in various ways, but is that something that you do specifically for joiners?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we do a lot of Facebook advertising, which is an effective way, really, to market your business, because it can be extremely targeted. You can choose the right demographic of people that you want. You can choose right down to very local areas. So you don't have to spend loads and loads of money. You're basically funneling down what you want. And we can create campaigns for you. We monitor and manage the whole process through.
So is that quite trackable as well?
Is it what, sorry?
Trackable, is it quite tangible?
It is, yeah. You get a report on that which is live. So from our point of view, it's brilliant, because we know day to day what's working and what's not, and what we need to change and tweak. And from a customer's point of view, a client point of view, you can easily see what your money's being spent on, and is it generating new inquiries. You can choose how you want to gather the information. Yeah. So it may be that you want people to phone you, or maybe you want people to go onto your website or make an appointment with you. So there's lots of different ways that you can measure that.
Well, I imagine is that relatively inexpensive compared to SEO and price per click and the rest of it?
It is. It's one of the most immediate ways, and it's probably one of the most cost effective as well. It's not the complete panacea to all your marketing needs, but certainly it will generate direct inquiries.
Sure, not the silver bullet, but it's certainly helpful to the overall.
It's certainly very helpful, yeah.
Sure, brilliant.
Great,
Andy.
Okay.
Sorry, can I ask a question too?
Yes, please do. Hello, Dan.
Sorry, my network's terrible here.
That's all right.
It's just a quick one. So for the Lignum windows and doors, are there sort of key differentiators that you'd identify in the in the marketing brochures to over existing timber windows and things?
Yes, there will be. That's what we're putting together at the moment. The great thing about Lignum is it's been designed from scratch to suit the kind of properties that people want, or windows that people want in their properties nowadays. So as well as being fully certified, so it helps on their insurance and all the rest of it, you've got very slim sight lines. They're obviously very easy to operate, and internally glazed as well, which is a massive benefit to the aesthetics of windows as well. And we've got, you've got choices of if you want to give people something that looks like a more traditional putty line, we've got the finishes for that. Or if you want more of an envelope type beading effect, we've got all those options. So there's a lot of options with it. There's even going to be very shortly available, literally beginning of next year, an clad version of it as well. So it's just designed really with the homeowner in mind, first and foremost.
Yep, that's brilliant. Thanks. And thanks to the Prez, that's really useful. All that, everything you've gone through.
Great. Thanks very much, Dan. Okay. Anybody else?
Could I quickly ask as well? Sorry. We had a difficult review on Google, and we actually think it was a potentially like a competitor or something trying to bring our ranking down, because we couldn't. It was a vague review giving us 1 star and saying we were awful, but we didn't have any record of the name anywhere. So we asked for the name or the road name, and he just didn't reply. So we're sort of suspicious that it was a bit of like foul play. And I sort of emailed Google saying, is there any way we can get this review removed? And they didn't get back to me. So I was just wondering if you had any advice with that kind of situation.
Yeah, it is very hard to get them removed from Google, and you do have to go through their procedures very carefully and sort of follow it. It is an annoying one, but it's really about responding as best you can. It's sometimes we've been up to 6 months trying to get reviews removed sometimes from Google. It is an absolute pain. Facebook's not much better either. They'll always take the view initially that you're at fault, not the person leaving the review. But if you're not getting anywhere with it, we did one recently for somebody where it was a customer not happy with an installation. And we checked back on their Facebook page, and they were a serial kind of complainer. There's nothing you could do. They wouldn't let them back into the home or anything. So you just have to put it visible of what you've done and say, look, we've done absolutely everything we can to help you. Or, if you can't get hold of them and it looks bogus, say, look, we can't find you. Be honest, we cannot find you anywhere on our records. It doesn't look like you've ever been a customer of ours. Can you give me more information so we can talk to you? And all you're worried about is how do you come across? If you come across as aggressive or a bit bombastic, then people will look at that and go, I don't, if that's how they behave. And if you behave in the right way, then it shouldn't give you any problems. And the more good reviews you get, the lower that one comes down in importance.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because we haven't got loads of reviews. So like 1 star review actually obviously brings our average down quite a lot. I just need to get as many as possible. You
do, and as I say, they do need to be genuine, but don't be afraid to ask people that know you and have may not necessarily be a direct customer, but have dealings with you. Reviews can come from suppliers, they can come from other businesses that have contact with you. That's not a problem at all, or people that and trust. To give you, that have had dealings with you, maybe even, personally, but, you can use that onto the business. So, You know, you can be creative with reviews, just don't lie about them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Great. Is anybody else have any questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time, and look forward to seeing you at a future webinar. Cheers. Bye bye now.
Thanks, Andy.